Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. My wife cheated on me with my brother. The title pretty much sums it up. My wife and I have been married for almost 10 years now, and we have an 8-year-old daughter. They admitted to having an affair after my mom found out and made them tell me. I'm currently in the process of finding a divorce lawyer, but even after what happened, I'm still struggling with carrying it out. Only because of my daughter. I know the divorce can have a very negative impact on a child, and the thought of her suffering in that way breaks my heart. I also want to gain full custody, but I don't know if that will be possible. If I don't, then I can't move very far, because I'd rather still interact with my wife than having to go months without seeing my daughter. On one hand, I feel so betrayed and want to get as far away from them as possible. But on the other hand, I feel like I'm being selfish if I subject my daughter to this. They're both very apologetic and begging for forgiveness, telling me to think of my child, and it's all just messing with my head. I feel like I'm in hell right now. What should I do? Our first reaction from Agile Opportunity 41. Staying in a bad marriage is just as harmful for a kid as divorce is. Divorce and find an amicable custody arrangement. You can't move far with full or partial custody, in my opinion. Hola les amigos chimes in. Yes, OP, they are trying to manipulate you by saying, think of your child. They should have thought about her before having an affair. They don't sound truly remorseful at all. Even if you do stay, do you think you can ever have a normal relationship with them? Do you think you'll be okay with them being in contact with each other? Answer is no. Also, kids do flourish when parents are divorced as well. Kids are resilient. Is the affair still going on? Are they still in contact? Has your wife said she will never talk to him? Has she shown remorse? If any of these questions have a negative response, she is not trust remorseful. The OP replies, I hope you're right. I've heard so much mixed opinions on this matter. Some say that divorce creates stress and behavioral problems for the child, and so you should stay together until they're an adult, but doesn't conflict have the same effects? Mongoose Loud wants to say, I don't care how apologetic they're pretending to be, it takes a serious kind of a-hole to even consider what they did. They're sorry because they got caught. They're right about one thing though. Think of your kid. Do you seriously think it would be good and productive for them to live through you faking your way through a marriage when you were so intensely disrespected and betrayed by two of the people closest to you? Free yourself and set yourself up for a bright future. Let them see you respecting yourself and not being a doormat. Your wife and brother threw a grenade on your marriage. What did they think the outcome could possibly be? They were not and are not thinking of you or your best interest. You have to do that for yourself. One Possibility 1178 wants to add one. They're surely thinking of themselves and trying to minimize the consequences that fall on them. They weren't ever going to tell you. Every time they were together, they actively chose themselves over everyone. They are selfish, manipulative, emotional abusers. I'm sorry you have to go through this. As long as you are present for your daughter and do your part to amicably co-parent, I think she'll be okay. Both of you can go to therapy to navigate the transition and emotional aspects going forward. Terser78 chimes in real quick. Your brother needs to be out of your life for good. For him to do that, to you, forfeits his right as flesh and blood. Complete no contact. D-Reddit Avenger chimes in. Why don't you just set yourself on fire? It would be easier. Seriously, what's going to be better? Finding out at, say, 14 that her mom and her uncle had an affair, but then her dad stayed with her mom for her? How is Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate going to go at that point? Or that her mom and her uncle had an affair and her dad divorced her mom, went on to be with someone else to show her that that kind of stuff should never be accepted. Say you have a good marriage with this new person and your mom comes over on a holiday. You can drop off and pick her up at her mother's, your ex's place, but never have to really see her again. I would say the second 100% over. I mean, your wife had an affair with your brother. Do you think you guys are going to be a happy, loving marriage going forward? The damage to your family is already bad enough, but don't force your daughter to live with the damage daily. Will your daughter grow up in a loving house or one with a dead marriage in it? What will be normalized for her? Will she even know what a good relationship looks like? There is not a chance that you won't resent being with your current wife every single day. Not a chance. You will spend the next 14 years fighting your own thoughts as they slowly kill your spirit. Better to be from a broken home than to live in one. When your daughter learns the full story, she will understand. Move on, man. Don't do that to yourself or your daughter. Razor Onion chimes in. How's your mom dealing with those two now? Did dad and siblings find out also? Your brother should want to melt off the face of the planet from shame and self-loathing. And your wife? Wow. Just wow. Stay tight with your mom. She is your best counsel in my opinion. Do your best to keep those two reptiles from harming you or your daughter. Any further legal advice is a must. The OP responds, they're really upset as well. My mom is urging me to divorce her immediately, but my dad is less sure and says I should consider it carefully, probably because he had a negative experience with his parents divorced. Jacques Lecoq chimes in, I caught my first wife and my brother. I can honestly say that the betrayal for my brother was way worse than the one for my wife. I nearly killed my brother. I also made it known if I ever saw him again, I would finish the job. This puts your family in a uniquely awful situation. They'll try not to pick sides in a clearly one-sided issue. Not picking a side is picking a side. It's not your side. Be prepared to lose everyone. I'm not sugarcoating this. It took nearly 30 years for me to speak to what remains of my family. I would do it the exact same way if I had to do it again. I would leave them behind all over again. I am truly sorry that this happened to you, brother. Stay strong and take care of your daughter and yourself. Anyone that isn't on board with you, you may need to end your relationship with. Yourself and your daughter, that's all that should matter to you right now. On to the next story. Shouldn't this be up to her to fix? There have been multiple D-days, I guess. Please do not judge me for this. My 30 male wife, 29 female, have been together 6 years, married for 2. We have a 4-year-old son who is mine. I initially uncovered a fling she had 2 months into our relationship after the first year, as her affair partner contacted me to tell me, which she did admit to only after he contacted me, and so ensued what I thought was proper reconciliation. We got married in January of 2020. Last year, she admitted she was upset I had conversed with her affair partner despite him contacting me first. She called it strange because we discussed some other things including sports in the weeks following him telling me. It has been 4 or 5 years since he contacted me at that point, so I was initially confused as to why she brought it up. Yes, it may have been odd, but the guy had found out about our relationship via Facebook, as she had also kept him completely in the dark, and he thought I should know, which I am grateful for. And as we spoke, we realized we had certain things in common. However, these conversations lasted as long as I needed to gain the confidence and enough evidence to confront her. We were not friendly or anything like that. After she came out and told me about being upset about this, I was on edge for a while and started monitoring her social media. I hated it. I really did not want to be this guy, and I thought I was over this feeling, but something just made me feel off about it, and I was right to. I then uncovered 3 men who she was talking to, who she'd met on Tinder. What ensued then was her blowing up at me completely for snooping, and she broke up with me, moved out for 4 months, February through June of 2021, and barely saw our son, as I assume he was a hindrance on whatever man she was seeing next. I consulted a lawyer. I did all of that stuff. She told me she didn't want a divorce, she just wanted a trial separation as I was being controlling. I took this as the end for us at that point because I felt like I had no self-respect. After about 3 of the 4 months, I was slowly getting myself back on my feet, working hard for my son, and I had deleted her number and all of those kinds of things, preparing for being strong enough to get back in touch with the lawyer if needed, I guess. Beginning of June, I get a text simply saying my name from an unknown number. I ignore it and carry on. I received numerous other texts saying how sorry she was and how disgustingly she had treated me. She said some pretty hurtful things if the actual cheating wasn't bad enough, and she had not bothered to see her son. I tried so hard to not break, but she called one day and I stupidly answered on loudspeaker, and my son heard her voice, and he was so happy. It took a couple of weeks for her to get back into my life after that. It's now February, a year later. She has an open phone policy, has told me what I think is the entire truth, but I doubt it, and sees an individual counselor weekly on Wednesdays through her job. I feel stupid for even suggesting that we've worked on things because everything just seems stagnant. I'll tell you why. I told her what I expected, more effort and affection, open and honesty, telling each other we loved each other daily, effort with our son to name a few. I do not think I am asking for a lot here. This has been her reply, paraphrased.
You mustn't be okay with what I've done, and I feel like you hold it against me that I made you feel like this. I shouldn't have to put up with it. You don't feel reassured by me, and I don't feel like you're truly okay with being back together.
Shouldn't it be up to her to work on these things? Shouldn't she be putting in the effort to make me feel reassured? I feel so stupid even asking this, but I want to check I am not going crazy here. It seems like she is putting this all back on me. Is this what is happening here, and what should I do? It is useless trying to reason with her as she just becomes nasty. Yes, I should have left at the start. I have friends to tell me this, but I love this woman and our son adores her even though she ignored him for months. I try and tell myself if it were my friend or brother in my position, I'd tell them to leave. But in reality, it's a lot harder. I need some help here of how I can get her to understand that her response is just not okay without starting an argument. Please no judgment. Thanks. Medium ad 8849 has the first response. The short answer is yes. The long answer is that you need to do the 180 and walk away. Literally walk away and treat her like the enemy. Don't go for the fair deal or whatever. Get all the evidence, everything, and tell her that if you don't get a proper divorce, you will share it with everyone you know. Do not be a doormat and do not expect her to treat you well at all. She will cheat on you again. Through a burner phone, smoke signals, trained squirrel messengers, she will. Leave. A. Ethan V. has this to say. Look, I am pro-reconciliation, but only under the strict circumstances and behavior from the wayward spouse. Even when all the circumstances are perfect, it is still a huge risk to undertake as a betrayed spouse. I have to say, reading her comment, you mustn't be okay with what I've done and I feel like you hold it against me, that I made you feel like this, I shouldn't have to put up with it, you don't feel reassured by me and I don't feel like you're truly okay with being back together, tells me everything you need to know. This is about her, only her, and nothing about you or the impacts her actions have had on you or your child. I gotta be honest, as I was reading your post I thought, no OP, when you mentioned getting back together with her. There was zero remorse, zero accountability, no actions that show reconciliation is remotely possible. None of her words have been backed with action. I don't see this relationship being anything but pain for you long term, and she's not a good candidate for reconciliation. You deserve someone who will move heaven and earth to heal your heart. She is doing virtually nothing. It's great that she's back in your son's life. Maybe work on being good co-parents? Because I don't foresee her ever being a worthy partner for you. I'm so sorry you are here, mate. One more comment before moving on. Reasonable Doubt 59 says, it is an argument. She wants a complete rug sweep. You need to contact her individual counselor and update them on the issues from your side. She may not be telling them the truth, if she actually even goes. You can't make this better because you don't control the problem, her. Get back to the lawyer and start protecting yourself before you lose the chance for full custody. She will cheat again if her attitude doesn't change. Her impatience is a sign that she is all ready to do it again. But you are being too vigilant for her to easily get away with it. She is wanting you to get your guard down. Good luck. On to the next one. Wife is having an emotional affair, at least. Title says it all. A few days ago I found some text messages after snooping. I snooped after about 3 weeks of emotional unavailability, lack of physical contact, and her just being different. I found out she skipped work about 2 weeks ago and lied again about having plans with him this past weekend. There were also things in there like her asking if he was unhappy about her friend being around time now and how she's excited to see him again. When confronted, she became defensive, but maintains she never cheated on me, even to friends and family. I asked to see her messages and she hid them. After the confrontation, I ended up couch surfing and she brings up how,
if we don't have trust, what do we have?
She has never done anything like this before. She said she hasn't been happy with us since our kid was born, so about 3 years. I don't know what to do, and I want so badly to give her the benefit of the doubt and think it was only emotional. We've had our problems, and she has asked for space so she can figure out things with us. She has been saying she needs space since last October. If she's looking to this guy for something we're missing, I understand and can move past it if she wants to put the work in. But I'm not sure if I can if it got physical with them. I'm so sick to my stomach about this. We also have a couples therapy session for this Friday and won't tell me if we are actually separated or not. The first response from Basic Advance 7627. It's not just emotional, my friend. I'm sorry. Hola les amigos chimes in. Cheaters love rewriting history. It's very common for them to say that they never loved us or were unhappy for a long time, though they always seemed the opposite. OP, she's just using that as an excuse, so that you play the pick-me dance and stay and wait for her to test the waters with that guy and keep you as plan B. Go to her, tell her that what she did is cheating, a huge betrayal, and that she's made things worse by making you the bad person. Then tell her you are getting a divorce. Then go get a divorce. Alternative Wing 922 has the next thought. She's a damn hypocrite for saying, if you don't have trust, what do you have? She's the one sneaking around with some other man that isn't her husband and then lying to you about it. If you have problems in your marriage, she should have gone to you and communicated that to you instead of talking to another man. I hope she has cut contact with this person completely if you hope to reconcile. 19 Tired of It All has our last thought. Here's what happens when they say they need space. It means they have someone else that they are interested in, and they need more time with that person to see if things will become serious.